Welcome to Ignition Point, the channel for aspiring entrepreneurs. I'm Debbie Hart.
And I'm Sean Finnegan.
Today we are here with Bridger Pennington. He owns a fund launch. And what else does Bridger do?
So Bridger teaches people how to create funds. Fund Launch is an incredible company. They just were in Miami, saw a couple of thousand people in the room. They pack the house with these big events and they attract a ton of people that really want to set up a fund. And on the other side, he also is a hedge fund manager, runs Ugly Unicorn, and that's crushing it as well in the crypto space. So welcome, Bridger.
Good to be on. You guys are awesome.
Thanks for coming. So how did you get started with that? What inspired you to start doing that for your living?
Yeah, it's funny. It's a funny space. Like we teach people how to launch funds. So like private equity, hedge funds, venture capital, real estate funds, this space. It's not very conventional space. No. And typically this has been kind of locked up in, we call it like on Wall Street. Like to learn this in the past, you had to go to an Ivy League school. You had to work on Wall Street for 20 years to like learn how to run a private equity fund. So I'll take you back a little bit. I'll tell you my quick story. Cut me off if you want. But I grew up in just Utah, pretty normal house, went to college, went on a mission, went to university, and I was super ambitious. So I started 6 businesses my first years of college. I had my hair on fire. Went out, started all these businesses, and finally my dad grabs me and he's like, Bridger, you're kind of like a chicken with your head cut off. And he goes, I want you to go meet with my business partner. This guy can really help you out. So he went out, he set up this meeting. I went to this guy's house, and this guy lived in this huge mansion. Beautiful house, gorgeous, had the cars, basketball court, the whole thing. And I just so you know, we lived in a normal house. My dad drove a car with a dent in the door, nothing's fancy. So I go to this guy's house. Long story short, I meet with him. I go, how'd you do this? He finally tells me, he goes, we run investment funds. He goes, right now we manage about $8 billion of real estate, which to put that in perspective, you guys follow like Grant Cardone online, that's 2 times bigger than Cardone Capital is today.
Jeez.
Wow.
The tune of what these guys are running. I was
Sounds
like, holy
like a
crap.
good mentor.
Yeah, I was like, dang. I was like, can you be my mentor? It's exactly what I asked him. Like, can I
Right.
come to your house? Can I, like, I'll bring you coffee, whatever you need, dude. I'll be your guy.
And
And
I
he's
learned
like,
from you.
he's like, Bridger, go talk to your dad. He's like, your dad knows way more about us than I do. And I said, no, my dad's kind of broke. You're obviously super rich. Like, I want to learn from you,
Got a
dude.
dent in his car. He haven't even fixed it.
Right?
Yeah.
My dad.
Yeah. And he's like, sorry to break it to you, but me and your dad make about the same amount of money. And my chin dropped to the floor. I was like, huh? Like, come again? He's like, yeah, me and your dad are pretty much equal business partners in this business. And I left the dude's house. I drove straight to my dad's house. I was like, Dad, what the heck? Like,
All
what's
these
going
years.
on?
Yeah.
Like, why haven't I been able to order a soda at Chipotle for the past 10 years? Because it's too expensive, and yet you're managing these billion-dollar funds. And anyways, long story short, and by the way, that was years ago. Today, they are over $48 billion AUM. My dad's since retired and other stuff, but that's 10 times Grant Cardone. That's 10x Uncle G right here.
Right.
So anyways, crazy. So long story short, my dad started teaching me about funds. So every Sunday night, I'd go to his house, get a whiteboard out, and teach me about how funds work, how management fees work, and waterfalls and structure and all this kind of stuff. And so I was at college, and it's funny about life, and you guys have talked about this probably on the show, but when you start to learn about something, that's why I love shows like this. Yeah. You start to learn about something, you start to recognize that thing in your life. Like when you buy a new car, all of a sudden you see that car everywhere, right?
Yep.
It's the same thing's true with business or business vehicles. So I started to learn about funds and I started to recognize opportunities that I could start or scale a fund in my life. And turned out I was at school doing an internship at this company, and there was an opportunity where I could start a fund. I came with this idea. We could do financing, do a debt product to help their clients in their business. So I got this cool idea together. I took it to my dad. We started to build out this little fund. I was 22 years old at the time. I was so excited. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to launch a fund. I'm going to be a fund manager at 22. It's going to be amazing. So I built this whole thing, and then I hit this wall. Like, crap, how am I going to raise money? Like, who's going to believe in me? The one thing you need for a fund is investors. That's like the thesis of a fund is you bring investors in and you go deploy that capital.
And you have a spreadsheet that shows you, hey, this is going to be a great business.
Yeah, but I haven't graduated college. I don't have a track record. I'm 22 years
You're
old.
pre-revenue. You haven't created the dollars.
Who's going to invest in me? And then I thought, aha, my dad. Like, my dad will invest. Apparently, he
makes as much as that other guy.
Yeah, he's got millions. He's not spending it on cars,
Right.
or we've never been to like Hawaii or whatever. Like, he doesn't go on vacation, so he'd probably love to invest. So I set up this meeting. I went and met with my dad on a late Sunday night, and I pitched my dad, and I said, Dad, how would you like to be our first investor into our fund? And my dad kind of smiled and laughed at me. And he said, Bridger, if I invest in your fund, I'll ruin the experience of you raising money on your own. Your first investor is your hardest investor to find. This will be a crutch that you'll never be able to recover from. And he said, no. And he kicked me out and he said, you got to go learn how to do this on your own. And so kind of walked out with my tail between my legs.
Some tough love.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And actually I took him up on the challenge. I went out and I raised a whopping $49,500, which sounds cool. I guess that's teeny for funds. That's like the smallest fund to ever launch. It was from like 7 or 8 investors, but it was enough. And we launched, and we ran this little syndication fund thing. And our first group of investors, I got them a 64% return on their money, which was phenomenal.
Wow.
So that was good. Small amount of money, but good return.
Yeah.
We then dovetailed that into our second fund. We raised, deployed millions of dollars out of that fund. Did very well. I ran that for about 3.5 years. We then had a competitor come and buy us out. And then just recently we launched our crypto fund. We raised 8 figures, and we're running that right now on a hedge fund strategy. It's done very well. We're now a minority partner on 8 different funds. We helped 130 people last year launch their funds. We have, I think, 12 student funds over $10 million, 1 student fund over $1 billion, and I think 54 student funds over $10 million in our group.
Wow.
Doing the craziest, we can talk about it more, but the craziest funds you've ever seen, which is pretty cool. So that's kind of our story of where we're at today.
Amazing success, but it probably wasn't all success along the way, right? Were there some failures you had to face and challenges to overcome? What were some of those?
Yeah, a bunch come to mind. I'll tell you one story actually. So we were launching Fund Launch, and this is me and my partner. We started with $500, and we had like this little trial period. We ran a couple of Facebook ads. We wanted to just test the market to see if people even wanted to learn about funds. We kind of tested out this market. We got a little pool of people that joined. We actually we started with courses. We didn't even build the course first, actually. We just had people opt in and buy.
Yeah.
It's $47. And if they
Like,
bought,
we got to go create a course.
and then we said, hey, we'll refund you. We actually have a video. Like, I have a video. I will refund you. We don't have a course. I just wanted to see if you would buy. Just get your money back.
I've actually done
Yeah.
that.
You've done that before?
Yeah.
But if you wait 3 or 4 weeks, I'm going to build a course. And actually, surprisingly, like 90% of people just said, hey, keep the money, build the course. I'll see it in a minute. So we built this little course. We got about 1,000 buyers our first month, which is pretty cool. 1,000
That
people
is
wanted
good.
to learn about
Wow.
funds. We then dovetailed this into, we're going to do a big webinar. So we had read about webinars, like let's do a webinar, and we're going to launch like our bigger group. And we kind of put everything on the line. We took all of our cash reserves. We kept it as a kind of a treasury account. And we're like, okay, we're going to run ads. We ran all this marketing to this one webinar. So we throw this webinar. We had a big day. That's all the marketing, the emails, everything up to this big day. And we were going to open our brand new product. It was $2,000 to help people launch a fund. And we had like 100 spots available or something. And we're going to open it for 3 days, okay, on this webinar. So we throw it on a Thursday, we do the webinar, we get it out, it's been all this work. We've been up for 3 days straight. We have videos of me at like 2 a.m. Me and Mason are building this stuff. Anyways, we open this webinar. We're on Webinar Jam, which anybody listening, don't use Webinar Jam, okay? We're giving a shout out. Because we're in there, we're having fun with people. Like you did your rock concert. We're like, hey, type yes in the chat if you're ready to go. People are like, type yes. We're doing all these fun stuff. And our chat is blowing up and it keeps glitching out the software. It's breaking and breaking. We have about 350 people live.
Yeah.
And it's breaking, it's glitching. And for 10 minutes, I mean, it's a long period of time. It keeps breaking and breaking and breaking. And I'm looking at Mason behind the camera, like, what do we do? What do we do? And he's scrambling, running around. Finally, he pulls out his credit cards, buys the biggest Zoom account we can afford. It's like
on the spot,
like $1,500, which Zoom charges a lot of money if you want to pay room. It's like $1,500. He buys it. And we thankfully had a redirect. And so he's like, redirect everyone to Zoom. So we redirect everyone to Zoom. We're going to Zoom. We redirect to Zoom.
Wow.
And we only lost about 25 to 30 people, which is
Jeez.
crazy. Everyone goes to Zoom. We then kept running the webinar. People stayed, which was cool. Like our audience wanted to hear from us even through all the technical difficulties. We throw this webinar and the webinar goes great. I look behind the camera as we're talking. Mason, it was just so stressful. He was face down on the floor, just like pulsing on the ground because
Right.
it was so.
Yeah.
Anyways, we
It was all writing on that too.
It was
if you
all right.
fail.
The whole
Yeah.
company was riding on
Right.
this. Like it was
Yeah.
make or break. Like we were about to go bankrupt if this didn't work.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And thankfully we opened it. I think we made $144,000
Nice.
in 3 days. We closed the cart and MailChimp, all the last emails didn't send or whatever. Is all of these technical difficulties. But what was cool is our audience wanted to come and be there and be a part of it. And
Yeah.
that was
So you've got to be flexible on the fly
Yeah.
with challenges like that. So what would your advice be to someone who's interested in starting their own company like that?
Yeah, I'll go back to how we started this. Actually, I had a great mentor tell me this. He said, any business, a lot of us have business ideas. I've had business ideas for years. And I would lay up at night and it would literally be this noise. You guys ever had the noise in your
yeah.
head?
Oh, yeah.
You can't sleep and you're like, I should
Yeah.
be doing this and I should be doing that. Like, why am I not here? And like,
Right.
and you just lay up at night and I had
Yep.
this
Yeah.
bad.
Sure.
And finally, I had a mentor, it changed my life. He said, Bridger, when you have that, write down all the ideas. Keep them on a notepad. And over a month, you're going to write down 50 things. You're going to pick your favorite one. And what you're going to do is you're going to go one at a time. You're going to systematically approach these business ideas. Because I had this problem of I was starting multiple businesses at once through college. Those 6 businesses, I wore it as a badge of honor. I was like, oh, I'm running 3 businesses. I tell
Yeah.
girls
It's
like
I'm
the
dating.
grind.
Yeah, I run like a
Yeah.
couple businesses. In
Right.
reality, no one successfully runs
Yeah.
3 businesses at once.
That's
you
right.
run
Yeah.
one business at once.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. And finally, I was like, I need to do this one at a time. So his advice was, any business idea, give yourself a timeline and a budget. He said, your timeline and budget should be 3 weeks and $500. He goes, 3 weeks and $500, you will be able to fully vet if this idea is good or bad. And you will either circle it like, yes, we're doing this, or cross it off the list. And so that's what we did with Fund Launch. We said we got 3 weeks and $500. And we put all $500 towards ad spend to just test this market and see if we get sales and generate sales.
Yeah.
And turns out we ended up generating like $2,500 from that 500. And we're like, oh, this works. And we took the $2,500 and we put it back and we generated like 6,000 or 7,000. We kept generating money from it. Like, oh, this works. And then we put ourselves. So once you pass that first time on a budget, then you go to the second tier, which is 9 months timeline. You can do a lot of crazy things in 9 months if you really focus. Most people don't focus. And my theory was, if I can get up to bat and really swing the bat, a lot of us don't actually swing, myself included. I kind of did a half swing. Oh yeah, I kind of want this business to be successful. I kind of want to have my YouTube channel pop off or whatever. In reality, if you put 9 months into something and really went all out.
To the one idea, not the 6 ideas.
Yeah, to the one idea.
On the one.
Right.
Chances are you're going to be. I've never seen someone go all out on something and fail. I don't know if you guys have. You ever seen someone fully focused, attentive to something and actually fail?
No.
I haven't seen it.
No, you're right. 100%.
Whether it's fitness or whatever it is. And so that was my idea.
If they go at it fearlessly.
If they go all out.
Yeah.
If they really focus. And so that was my concept. And I thought, you know what? I was young, I'm mid-20s. I thought 7 to 9 month chunks, if I do that enough times, give me enough swings, I'm going to eventually hit a home run. It might take me 3 years, might take me 5 years. But who cares? I'll eat ramen noodles for 5 years to hit a home run. That sounds like a good trade-off to me.
Yeah. I think you solve such a big problem for investors and business owners, because they hit a point where they're plateaued in their business, whatever that business is. And if they just had a fund, they could really pour gasoline on the fire, right? And so you solve this big problem for people, because where do they go? Like, if I want to create a fund, like, how do I learn about that? So you came in and solved a massive void in the market.
Yeah, you did.
Which we found by testing. We didn't know that was a void. We went and used all these tools that we actually found there was tons of search volume on Google and YouTube. How to start a fund, how to start a private equity fund. And there was little to none search results, like good content. It was like a blog. Hey, go hire a lawyer was the answer.
Right.
Okay, that's not very helpful. And lawyers bill you $2,000 an hour and talk very slow, and they're just not useful. And we actually, that 3 weeks, $500, that test changed our whole trajectory.
So if you guys want to learn more how to start your own fund, we're going to put Bridger's information down in the description, and you guys can find out more.
Awesome.
We have a free course if they want a free course.
Go ahead
let's
and
do
say that.
So we've got a 100% free course on funds. Our goal is to help more people just understand this game of funds. I want people that I had an incredible father and brother to teach me about funds. So anybody listening to this, if you guys want a free course on funds, I think it's like 20 videos. We have downloadable stuff. We just want to help more people understand this game.
There you go.
And so if you guys want to, I think it's fundlaunch.com. You guys put the link below or whatever, but 100% free. Go check it out. We want to just help thousands of people and I'm so sick of like the Wall Street elites are the only ones that can know about this. Regular people like me and you, or maybe just me. You guys are probably way above me, but regular like me need to understand this game of how it works. You guys can go check that out.
And I've actually gone through his training. It is phenomenal. He breaks it down so it's very easy to understand. It could be intimidating for some people to think of, I don't even know all these like terms. He does an incredible job. Their company rocks it at really making it simple to understand.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Bridger.
Thanks, guys. Good job.
If any of you watching today have any doubts that your current CPA is not helping you take 100% advantage of the deductions you deserve and helping you stay compliant with the IRS, then don't hesitate to get involved with TaxHive today. You won't be disappointed.